Do you want to fire big massive cannons? Do you want to rain napalm upon your enemies? Do you want to drop nukes from orbit? This is the build for you! Hey guys, today I'm going to show you my build for the Tactician Mercenary that is based on Artillery Ballista. There are several builds that are similar to this, but they are more based on Siege Cascade that we also use, but they base their damage on Siege Cascade. I didn't want to do that. I wanted my Ballista to be the main source of damage. So that is what this build is about. We of course still use Siege Cascade because it is awesome. We also use the oil grenades, and we use flammability, the cores for the exposure, but the big amount of damage goes from the Ballista. So if you have wanted to play Artillery Ballista and rain fire upon your enemies, then this is the guide for you, my man. Dude, over 60% of you are not subscribed. Why are you like this? Just click the sub button, my dude. It is quick, it is easy, it is free. You get content, I get a sub, win-win situation. Just click the sub button, my dude. At the start of the season, I decided what ascendancy I was going to play by using a roulette, dude. I left it to RNG, and RNG decided that I had to play the Tactician. And when I was playing it, I really like the Artillery Ballista skill, and I decided to go all in on it. It is not lightning spear build, but it is still pretty good. It can clear all the content in the game, the high maps, the pinnacle bosses. I have killed the Arbiter of Ash, no problem. It can do everything. Not at the insane speed that the lightning spear, but that is an outlier, crazy broken build, right? But this build is still really good, and let me tell you, it is fun and it is cool. So let's get into it. The most important thing, the Artillery Ballista. I am going to tell you right out of the gate how to scale this build. The most important thing to get the most amount of damage is getting as much levels as you can to your Artillery Ballista, and of course getting as much support gens as you can. As you can see, it is my only skill that has the 6 link. So if you can afford it, please do that. So we go with Artillery Ballista, getting as many levels as we can. If you can get the level 20 gem, that is awesome. Quality, of course. And we get the Fire Mastery because we get +1 level. Level is the most important thing. Primal Armament because this does elemental damage, this does fire damage. So Primal Armament is awesome. We go Overabundance, so we can place 2 torrents at the same time. We can place 4, but that comes in later with the passive skill tree. Then we get Elemental Focus for more elemental damage, but the skills cannot inflict elemental elements. We don't care about the elemental elements, so the damage is insanely cool. And then Fire Infusion, we get 25% more fire damage. All of this is getting the Artillery Ballista to hit as hard as it can, because that is the more where our damage comes from. Then, as I told you, we also use Siege Cascade. Why? Because when we place the 4 torrents, well, what else am I going to do? Just hang out. I am not a pussy that I am just going to let my torrents do all the work. So I still hit. I still hit with Siege Cascade. And why Siege Cascade? Siege Cascade, I am sorry, dude. Because we are playing the Tactician. And if you know, this is something that is coming later, but just so you know right away, the cool part about the Tactician is that you have a lot of ping built up. And when you ping enemies with the Tactician, they are basically frozen, they are immobilized, and of course our ballistas do that. They ping enemies, they immobilize them. And then our Siege Cascade has, if you can see the additional effects from quality, it says more damage against immobilized enemies. That means that Siege Cascade does a fuck ton of damage. So basically, you drop the ballistas and then you use Siege Cascade and you do a lot of damage. This build is cool because you would think that a ballista build or a torrent build is uninvolved, that you place the torrents and then you don't do anything else. No. With this build, you play the game. That is also why I like it. I am always doing something. I place the ballistas, I shoot the cascade, I throw the bombs, I throw the cores, I shoot, I throw the ballista, I dodge, I do stuff. You are always moving, you are always active, you are always doing something, and it is really, really, really cool. So in the Siege Cascade, we go with a reload speed because it only has 1 shot, and if we want to shoot a lot, reload speed is really cool. Then we have Calling Strike. Calling Strike is really good for bossing. So when you see that the boss is getting low, you Siege Cascade, you execute the motherfucker. Acceleration, why? Because as you can see, he shoots in the sky, you have to wait for the shit to fall down. Sometimes you miss mobs if this shit is not fast. So acceleration helps the bullet or the fire or the whatever to come down faster. And then you have martial tempo again to attack fast, right? Really cool, really cool. Then we have oil grenade. Oil grenade basically inflicts exposure to fire on enemies, and if you ignite the ground, it also creates ignited ground that hits for a lot. It is really cool. Then we give the support gem strip away, increase effects of the exposure. We get main, an extra slow in there, no big deal, and a scatter shot to throw several grenades, right? Then we get flammability to reduce even more the fire resistance. So this is not the same, by the way. All grenade inflicts exposure, that is one thing, and flammability inflicts reduced resistances. These are two different things. For flammability, we get the heightened course, 25% increased magnitude. We get the burning inscription. You basically burn the ground, and we get Hex Bloom, so the course spread and you don't have to be applying the course all the time. You throw it once, it spreads among a big pack, right? Then we have the Wind Dancer as our choice of the passive thing. You know that the Wind Dancer is basically OP. This thing gives you, it pushes back mobs when they hit you. It takes a spirit, of course, and it also gives you a lot of evasion rating. This build is a hybrid between evasion and armor. Yes, I know armor, but hey, what are you going to do? And it gives you a lot of evasion. It's really good. You could go with Herald of Ash if you don't want to go with Dancer, but I basically prefer Wind Dancer because I want the defense, and the totems don't trigger, the Ballista doesn't trigger the Herald of Ash. You have to trigger the Herald of Ash with Siege Cascade, right? So that is something to have in mind. I am using Wind Dancer basically. And then I have the Quadrilla with the Haste Aura, because the Haste Aura of the Quadrilla applies to me, move and attack faster, and it also applies to the totems. They attack faster because of the Quadrilla. So my brother in Christ, you have to farm for a Haste Aura beast. It doesn't have to be a Quadrilla, but you need to get a companion that has Haste Aura. This takes your build to the next level. Not only in damage, but also in movement speed. It feels really, really cool. In the Quadrilla or in the companion that you get, I have mid shield, so it is tankier. I have elemental army, again, so it is tankier. And why it is important that the pet is tanky? Because you have loyalty. 10% of damage from hits is taken from supported companion's life before you. Minions from supported skill have 30% less maximum life. So you reduce the life of the companion, but I am taking it up again with these two. Why? Because basically we are linked together in health, and he helps me be more tanky. And that is cool. By the way, in Wind Dance I have Cannibalism and Clarity. These two take a spirit away too. I could take away these two, by the way. If you don't want to use Clarity or Cannibalism, you can use Wind Dancer and Herald of Ash at the same time. This is also a possibility. I take these two, and I take the spirit, and I can take the Herald of Ash. I don't know what is missing here. Oh, it is because I have the Deadly Herald. I take out the Deadly Herald, and then I can activate. So you can have the Herald of Ash and the Wind Dancer at the same time if you don't put any other support gems that take a spirit. But I like the Cannibalism and I like the Clarity, because they give you basically sustain when you are mapping, right? This takes you 2% of maximum life when you kill an enemy, and this gives you increased regeneration mana. And as you can see, placing a torrent takes out a lot of mana, and I even have it with the passive skill that it takes life, so it has less hit on my damage, and it still takes a lot. So that is why I like having Clarity, and I have basically deactivated the Herald of Ash, but that is a possibility for you. Then we come to the skill tree. In the Ascendancy skill tree, the most important thing, getting right where we want them. Pinned enemies cannot perform actions. This is OP. This works on bosses. This works on everything. You give extra damage to things that are immobilized with Siege Cascade. This is basically you destroy enemies before they hit you. It is really, really good, and this is the whole reason to play Tactician. Of course, I played it because the roulette gave it to me, but if you choose to play Tactician, this is the reason why you play Tactician. So this is 100% locked in. Then this node is very good too. Polish that gear. Gain 100% of armor as extra stun threshold and gain 100% of evasion rating as extra ailment threshold. Basically, I don't use a stun charm because I don't get stunned because of this. I am always rolling, moving away. It is like, of course, if you get swarmed, they are going to stun you. But dude, it is really hard for you to get locked because of this. You are always on the move. It is really, really cool. Now, the one that you could change is this one. You could put a solid plan instead of this one. But I like this one. What can I tell you? Stay light, use cover. Defend with 200% of armor. Enemies have an accuracy penalty against you based on distance. Maximum chance to evade is 50% and maximum physical damage reduction is 50%. That is why you see that I am capped at 50. But if I remove that, this should go higher, right? Than 50%. But it doesn't matter because I am defending with 200% armor. And the accuracy is not that big of a deal, but hey. But since armor kinda sucks, that is why I tell you that you can't take it away. But then you have to pay up with the defenses somehow bottom in the tree because you also get 50% increased armor and evasion in here. So I don't know. I like it. I feel like when I have it, I am more tanky than when I don't have it. So I like it. But if you wanna have a fuck ton of auras for whatever reason, you can go with a solid plan. Now let's go to the tree. In the tree, of course, I am going to give you the PoE Ninja for this build. I am going to give you in the description. If I update the build or whatever, it is going to be updated. You can import it to PoE if you want. You can do whatever you want, but I am going to tell you what is important in here. What you have to understand about totems is that whatever bonus you get, they get, right? In relation to offensive capabilities. The only thing that they don't get is the damage of your weapon because they have their own weapon. It says in here, the totem uses its own weapon, dealing 338 to 507 base physical damage. That is the only thing that you can't attack directly with your crossbow, for example. But if you get attack speed, the totem gets attack speed. That is basically what I am trying to say. So getting attack speed in the tree is really good. So we get right in here just to get the attack speed right away. And on top of that, with Mass Hysteria, you get attack speed, which gives totem attack speed. But on top of that, allies in your presence have 6% increased attack speed. So it doubles up the amount of speed that they get. And yes, allies are totems. Your allies include other players, minions, and any other entity that fights alongside you and has its own stats. You do not count as your own ally. So it includes totems. We get this in here just for the stats, increase armor, also the increased armor and evasion, and strength and dexterity. We get in here strength. The stats are really important in this build. You are going to see why. In here we get armor and strength. In here we get totem damage. Of course, we are fighting with totems. We need that totem damage. And also attack and cast speed if you summon a totem. But when you get attack speed and cast speed, you also give it to your totem. So it is like 2 versus 1 stone. We get more strength over here. We get a gem in here. We get the stats. We keep both in the totems. Totem damage. Totems have more attack speed per summon totem. We are summoning 4 totems total. Why? We have the overabundance, so we have 2 totems. And then we have Ancestral Artifice that gives attack skills up +1 to maximum number of summon totems. So 3 totems over here, 20% increased totem placement range. That part, we don't care about that. Regenerate 1% of maximum life per second. While you have a totem, we always have a totem. We are always regenerating. Totems regenerate 3% of maximum life per second. That is cool for the sustain of the totems. We want fire damage for obvious reasons. Damage penetrates 5 resistance. Damage penetrates 5 resistance. Chance to ignite, we don't care about that. But increased damage with hits against burning enemies. This one is basically for the Siege Cascade because, as we talked about earlier, we can give that. But with the oil grenade, we ignite them. Just know that you are taking, if you use your oil grenade and your Siege Cascade, you are igniting enemies and you're taking advantage for this node. We also take, of course, the Watchtowers that gives us the 4th totem. Attack skills have +1 to maximum number of summon totems. Skills that would summon a totem have 20% chance to summon 2 totems instead. So that is why sometimes you can summon 2 totems like that at the same time. And that is really, really cool, dude. Then I come in here and I take armor and evasion to cut my stuff, and you get +1 to evasion rating per 1 armor on equipped gloves. And we will get to itemization in a little bit, but I don't have a hybrid gloves because I needed to go full in armor because the armor transforms into evasion. So it is like, why go hybrid if you can go full armor? And in here you get gain 8% of evasion rating as extra armor. So it is cool having evasion in the other stuff. You will be able to balance it in gearing however you want. Then we have the stats. Stats are really important because we are using gems from basically 3 schools of magic or 2 schools of magic. We are using oil grenade for dexterity and strength. We are using flammability, that is intelligence. So we need stats. And we are taking Jack of all trades that gives 2% increased damage per 5 of your lowest attributes. So we want to keep the attributes close. You can see that I am 180, 180, 183 because when your lower attribute is as high as it can, you get more damage. So that is why we get that like that. Then we get more attack speed because attack speed is damage for the totems. Over here we get a socket and we get elemental damage. Elemental damage is cool. Attack damage penetrates 50% of enemy elemental resistances. These 4 points that I have here are optional, but I like them because they are really good against bosses. You can see that this is increased attack damage against rare or unique enemies, basically rares in maps and bosses. And I have this one, is the Giant Slayer, is really good for bossing. 25 increased damage, 20% increased accuracy, and 20 increased chance to inflict ailments. Basically what you really want is the 25 increased damage, right? But if you don't like this, if you think this is a waste, you can take it out and put it on something else that does damage. I am going to give you options, don't worry about it. We also have over here on the other side, we have more skill speed, always more damage. We have skill mana cost converted to life cost because we saw that summoning torrents all the time takes a toll on your mana. And then we come in here for more torrent stuff. We have a torrent placement speed, so you are not all the time summoning torrent, but you drop them fast. And then you have 25% increased damage while you have a torrent. Again, this is retroactive because if you get damaged, the torrent gets damaged, but you put the torrent and the torrent gives to you. You know what I'm meaning. Torrents have 2% increased cast speed per summon torrent. You are summoning 4, so all this shit gets a lot of buffs, you know. Then you can come in here and you get attack area damage. The torrent is attack area damage, so this buffs the torrent a lot. Trust me, you have 25% increased attack area damage, and this increases the area of effect, so your nukes affect a bigger zone, basically. If you don't like the Giant Slayer or you don't like a particular node, you can take them out and come over here and get this. The big part is not the increased torrent placement speed, but it's this. 8% increase attack and cast speed if you summon a torrent recently. You always summon torrent, so this is always active. And have we discussed, if you get attack and cast speed, the torrents get attack and cast speed. So this node is very good. I don't have it because I have invested my points in other places, but that is also a good node to have. So that is the skill tree. In the Yules, of course, we get attack speed, elemental damage, projectile damage. I have the attack with the spears because I didn't have divines to get a better gem, and still this gem was 1 divine. 4% increased attack speed with crossbows. We have crossbows. 50% increased projectile damage, 15% increased elemental damage. In the other one, I have attack speed, projectile damage, attack speed with crossbows. That is what you need for damage. And since I told you, what is the where do you get the most amount of damage for totems? From levels. So you get plus, I have this Prince of Belief. You don't have to have it. The build functions without this. This is like min-maxing, of course. And this is like what, 5, 6 divines. Between 4 and 6 divines. Plus 2 to level of all artillery ballistas skill. There are ones that are 3 or plus 4, but they are really expensive. So I didn't go for those because I didn't have the divines. But this gives you a lot of damage because the thing that gives the most amount of damage to totems is a skill level. And that brings us to the gear. In the gear, you will see that the first thing you need to do is getting capped on your projectile skills on your gear. What are the 2 pieces of gears that can get level to all projectile skills? The crossbow, and the max is +7 to level of all projectile skills. You can see it there. And the other one is your amulet, and the max that it can have is +3 to level of all projectile skills, and you can see it there. So from your crossbow and your amulet, you get 10 levels. Plus the 20 levels that I have, it is 30 level. Plus 1 level for my fire mastery, 31 levels. And from the Prism of Belief in the Yule in my tree, I get to level 33. That is really powerful. You could potentially min-max this even more, but it is really hard to pull off. Maybe you will need a corruption in the projectile skills. You will need a more expensive Prism Belief, and you can only have one because it is a unique Yule. You could get the corrupted gem at level 21, but that is also really hard to get. So 33 is like a soft cap, because going over that is going to require a lot of effort, luck, or currency. Just so you know. But you could go higher. You could go higher. Now, what gives damage to the torrents? Remember that I am going all in on the torrent. I don't care about the other skills. I want my torrents to hit as hard as they can. So added damage to the attack is what gives them more damage. You can see here as 24 to 37 fire damage. The accuracy rating sucks, but I didn't have money for a better crossbow. But what you wanna see in there is another one, like these gloves. You can see that these gloves adds physical damage, adds cold damage, adds lightning damage. That is what you want to see. The physical and the fire are the two most impactful ones, but cold and lightning are cool too. So in this I have fire damage, but I should have added physical instead of accuracy. Then the increased elemental damage with attacks is really good, as high as you can, obviously. Attack speed is really good. So the gain life per enemy kill is cool, but you don't need it. And there is no, aside from attack speed and projectile skills, there is not like a crazy suffix that you can get in there. The crazy part is in the prefixes, having increased elemental damage and having fire damage, added fire, cold, lightning, or physical if you can. You can see that it is not the same as a normal build where you want the extra physical damage for the shot of the crossbow, because we don't care about the shot of the crossbow, because the artillery ballista has its own attack. So what we want is to add attacks on top of the normal attack the ballista does. That is why we do that. And again, as you can see in my gloves, I have the physical damage, cold, lightning. Then you add attack speed because it is really good, and then you get your rarity, your dexterity, whatever else you need for your build, right? Like you need your resistances, of course, and you need your attributes to be able to upgrade your gems, right? And as I told you, the gloves are full armor because we are taking that node in the tree that gives us evasion per armor on the gloves. Everything else for me is hybrid. Armor evasion, armor evasion, armor evasion. In the helmet, I believe this is one of my weakest pieces, I don't remember. But you have armor and evasion. Life, you need life. You need life in your gear because I have 2600 life. This is too low. I should take this to 3k, but I am poor, okay? So we need life. Increase armor and evasion, life, mana, rarity, strength, fire resistance, lightning resistance. Of course, you want to cap your resistances. I have my resistances. The chaos is the only one, and you know how chaos is, right? In the chest, we have again increased armor and evasion, maximum life, cold resistance, lightning resistance, right? In the belt, we have armor, maximum life, maximum mana, strength, chaos resistance. Of course, you need the 30% movement speed, right? This is obvious. Life, mana, dexterity, fire resistance, cold resistance. And on the amulet, as I told you, you really need the level 2 all projectile skills. It is the most important thing that you need to have on your amulet. Then I have increased armor, maximum life, maximum mana, all attributes, and dexterity. Just rounding out the build, you know, rounding out the build. Like the things that you need at the levels of projectiles, the added damage, and then you round out your build with your resistances and your attributes, right? Then the rings. The rings are really important because rings can roll added damage to attacks. You need that shit so the torrents hit harder. So you get adds 6 to 12 physical damage, adds 25 to 41. Life, all elemental resistances, 21 to lightning resistance. By the way, I haven't tried it yet, but I suspect that the Ingenuity belt should be really good for this build because you will get more damage out of your rings, which is really good. You will double up on your damage on your rings. I have to try the Ingenuity, but I am poor. I haven't tried it. but you know that you can try it. Just so you know, if you have an ingenuity, try it. I think it will be good because of the extra damage. So you have, again, the extra damage, the life, their elemental resistances, lightning resistance, mana regeneration is always welcome. You get fire damage, maximum life, dexterity, elemental resistances, really cool. Since I have a lot of resistances, I can then take my soul cores are chaos resistance, chaos resistance, chaos resistance, chaos resistance. This one is fire resistant to compensate for what I was lacking in other pieces. In the bow, we get increased elemental damage with attacks in our soul cores for obvious reasons. Normally, people put iron runes in them, but we don't need iron runes because we don't need the actual damage of the bow or the crossbow. So we go with increased elemental damage. The anointment for the amulet is this one right here. There are other options like the pin build-up that is, where is the pin build-up, dude? You have this, pin and run, increase pin build-up. You are always pinning stuff, so that one is not that attractive. But then it says 5% increase movement speed if you pin an enemy recently. You can't use that because you are always pinning, but this one I think it is just better. 3% increase movement speed all the time, and 10% increase skill speed, which again makes your torrents attack faster, so it is damage. So acceleration is both movement speed and damage. So I really like this anoint for my amulet, and it is not that expensive, dude. So yes, guys, that is the build. You put your torrents, siege cascade, grenades, flammability, torrents, everything is cool. You will have to be pressing a lot your mana flask, by the way, and I have a good mana flask, but still you have to press it, dude. So yes, that is how it works. If you want to know if you can level up with this build, yes you can. I leveled up with this build little by little. It wasn't the greatest. You can do it if you want to, but you can also use like a guide for a build, for a leveling build, and when you are level 50, level 60, you swap, right? You could do that, but you can also just level with this very build and just go step by step on the things that I told you. You go step by step on the tree, step by step with the ballista. Everything will be fine, brother, trust me. And yes, guys, that is it. Let me know how we did. This is my very first build guide for Path of Exile 2 with a build that I know that there are people doing similar things, but this is so that I am proud of it because I tuned it out myself. Let me know how I did, not only if the build is good, but if the guide for the build is good, if this video is good. Let me know in the comments below. I would love the feedback, dude. So let me know in the comments below if you are going to try the artillery ballista. If you already tried it, what have you found about it? Let me know everything in the comments below. I love reading comments even when they don't agree with me. Also, let me know if I am a clown, if I am a genius, if I am right, if I am wrong. Let me know everything, dude. Also, remember to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, all that cool stuff. Guys, thanks for being here. You guys are fucking awesome. God bless ya. And remember, don't be afraid ever, because this is just a ride.